Yes, it's true. I made a movie, and here's the story of it. Now, a little bit of the backstory. I graduated UCLA. I was a PA on a bunch of movies that you've heard of that were actually bombs. So what happened was I was getting sick of it, and I raised some money with my brother and another friend of mine, and I wrote a script. I had an idea for a movie that I really wanted to make, an indie film. Sundance was only like maybe 2 or 3 years old at that time, and it was the buzz. Anyways, the movie, and we're going to get into it in a second, is called And God Spoke. I made it in the summer of '93. It was an idea I had because I had really been a fan of This Is Spinal Tap, the mock documentary about the rock band. And because I had so much experience as a PA on really big budget bad movies, I thought I'd love to make a This Is Spinal Tap of the movie business. And I came up with the idea of a couple of filmmakers making a movie that they're way over their head in, and they were going to make a biblical epic. And we shot this movie in May of 1993. By September of 93, it was already finished, and we premiered it at the Toronto Film Festival, the midnight screening. At the time, there were new companies like Miramax, and New Line was buying a bunch of movies, and there was all this sort of like indie buzz in the world. The movie was purchased by Lionsgate, and it was released in October or September of 1994. It didn't do that well, but the thing is, when it got to video, it became sort of a cult film. People watched it. People on movie sets used to quote it all the time, and people would find out I made it. That was always like a big deal. Like, you made that movie? Anyways, I went on to my career. I made other things, directed, reality TV, Hell's Kitchen. It was coming up on the 30-year anniversary since the movie was made. Somebody reached out to me. They were part of a film organization in Orange County, California, and they wanted to have a 30-year screening of the film. They wanted to fly me in. They wanted to fly the 2 lead actors in, and they had reached out to them, and it took a while for us to coordinate a date that all 3 of us were free. I don't live in California, so it was a date that I had to be free to fly in. Finally, the date came in January of 2025. I flew from New York on just a regular JetBlue flight all the way to LA. It wasn't too bad.
So I'm getting ready to take off. We're going to see how this goes.
Now, here's something I have to tell you, because if you're watching this and it's not January 2025, you probably will forget that LA right now, and during this time of this screening, is having massive fires. I don't know why we didn't cancel this or reschedule it. I guess because it took so long to schedule the first time, and because it was happening in Orange County, which is far enough away from the fires. I get off the airplane, and I get to go to get my rental car, and this lady's telling me all about it. She's telling me about the fires, that she smells it. I look over, by the way, I see a Cybertruck, and I go, this is how you know I'm in LA, because I don't see Cybertrucks in my little town where I live in New York. To anybody who knows me, I get my rental car, and there's only one place I can go. I must always go to In-N-Out. Got to go to In-N-Out, my favorite hamburger place in the whole world, and it doesn't exist in New York. So if I'm going to California, I'm going to make a stop at In-N-Out. In-N-Out was, of course, delicious. So anyways, my brother, who was producer of the film, he still lives in LA. Come to my house, we'll go out to dinner, and then the next morning just drive on down the day of the screening at my brother's house. Gonna go knock on the door and say hello, hang out for a little bit. And I didn't really film much inside my brother's house because honestly, it's private and it's his life and so forth. But here's what was interesting. He goes, you know what we're gonna do? Have you seen these driverless cars? These like driverless Ubers. I don't think I'm comfortable sitting in the back seat of a car if there's no driver in the front seat. He goes, we're gonna try it. And he calls one.
2025, the Jetsons thought we'd be flying.
There's our car. So let's get in this Uber. And here we go. We're walking out to this car. We get into the back seat of the car.
Get in.
Okay, so I'm going to get in. There's no one in the driver's seat.
Okay, ready?
Okay.
Start rolling.
And it's driving.
Please make sure your seatbelt is fastened.
I'm scared to frickin' death. And I'm just sitting in the back, white knuckling it. How does it know that there's no cars coming left and right? Now, I do want to say that after a while, I kind of forgot that there was nobody driving it after a while. We just started catching up and talking. Next thing you know, we arrive. It pulls over and we're at the restaurant. The next morning, I wake up at his house, but I'm in LA and I need to get to Orange County. And there was a problem. So here I am on the road and I notice that my light saying low tire is showing up. In fact, it's showing like tire pressure of like 2 pounds per square inch, 0 pounds. And I can feel as I'm driving, something is dragging. I'm like, I think I have a completely flat tire. I pull over. Sure enough, I've got a flat frickin' tire. Now I'm still like 5 miles from the hotel. I'm like, what do I do? It's a rental car. Thank you, National. I went to the gas station, I put air in the tire, and I got back on the road. And even over the course of those 5 miles, it was saying 25 pounds of pressure, 20 pounds of pressure, 15 pounds of pressure. I'm like, please just get me to the hotel. And sure enough, I got to the hotel just in time before the tire hit 0 again. Here I am, like on a Sunday, I'm going to have this screening in a few hours. I'm dealing with a rental car that has a dead tire.
So I'm waiting for National Car Rental to come and put a spare on it or whatever I got to do. It's 10 a.m. so the screening is not till 4, so I've got time to deal with it. And I want to fix this because I got to get to the airport to leave tomorrow.
But to make a long story short, I called National Car Rental. They sent somebody right to the hotel. He quickly put on the spare tire, and then they told me that I had to go to the Orange County airport, which was only like a mile away, swap out the car with another car because they don't want me driving around in a rental car with just the spare tire. So I go to the Orange County, I drop off the car, I pick up the exact same car.
Giving me a new car. They said it's basically the same as the old car.
I take it back to the hotel. So now I'm hungry. I know it's going to be a long day. So I go down to the restaurant in the hotel and I just start to eat and watch the TV, watching the football games as I eat. And the 2 actors who were the leads of the movie, whom I haven't seen in 30 years, and they each come down and we hung out and we caught up and we talked. One of them lived in Sweden. One of them lives in Canada. We talked about life. We talked about the movie. We've talked about how often they get recognized, which weirdly is still happening to them every now and then. And we all look so different now. To be honest with you, I probably would have passed them if I had seen them walking in the street. And I know them really well. I've seen this movie a lot. That's how different they looked and how different we all looked. Look back to me talking to Lou Ferrigno and Andy Dick there. Now look at me now. I'm like a freaking dinosaur compared to that. Who did I think I was then? Okay, so let's get to the screening.
Well, it's that time. I'm on my way. Drive to the theater. Show starts in an hour or less. Fires are probably going to make no turnout, but what the hell?
I wasn't nervous until it was time to leave the hotel and drive to the theater, which was about 10 or 15 minutes away.
I'm parked and I'm walking to the theater. Again, no idea what kind of turnout we're going to be, what to expect.
And I started to think, what if nobody shows up due to the fire? What if it doesn't play? What if the movie's out of focus? I mean, I'm worrying about all the things that I used to worry about 30 years ago when I was a guy with an indie film screening it somewhere. I get there. There wasn't as many people as I'd like, but it was also 30 minutes early. So I made small chit chat. People seemed to trickle in and trickle in. What's unfortunate is that I started to get a lot of texts throughout the day because of the fire. I can't go. I was going to bring a few friends. I can't go. I must have counted almost 30 people who said they were going to come, who then said, because of the fire, I just can't do it. The guy who runs the festival, I think it's called Flicker Happy. It's not a film festival. It's like an organization called Flicker Happy. I'll put a link to their website in the description. We all gather in the theater. He introduces the film.
With everything going on in Los Angeles, so it's very tragic, but grateful that for those of you who did make the long drive down here, very grateful to have you over here.
He says there's going to be a question and answer afterwards. I'm a little nervous with the lights going down. It was actually my first time watching the movie in over 25 plus years. I got to watch it as if I was actually not the filmmaker, but I got to watch it as if I was the viewer. And there was a few things of like, couldn't make that joke today, but overall it still played. It worked as a time capsule for what it was. When it was over, there was a question and answer, which was videotaped, and I'm also going to put a link to the entire Q&A section, and it was a lot of fun. It lasted for about 45 minutes. All said goodbyes. People wanted autographs. People had posters to sign. It was actually a lot of fun. Now, just as a sidebar, I don't know if you've heard of the South by Southwest Film Festival. It was brand new in 1994, and I actually won the best narrative. I won the main prize, the best film, in 1994 with this film. And I even found, just to show you, I even found some old stills, like some press stills. Here's me. On the left, I've got like a film meter in my hand talking to the actor who plays the gaffer in the movie. He's not the real life gaffer of the movie. He was the actor who played the gaffer. I'm teaching him how to use a light meter. If you've seen the movie, and if you haven't, by the way, I'm going to put the description on how you can watch my film in Godspoke in the description and in the comments. And if you haven't seen it, I really hope you do. Anyways, I did wind up going to dinner with the 2 lead actors, and we chatted until late at night. And then by early the next day, 8 a.m. the next day, I was already on the plane getting ready to fly home back to New York. So here's my overall thoughts. I'm so glad I did it. I'm so glad that I got to reconnect with those actors. I'm glad I got to see that movie on a screen after all those years. And the last thing I'll say is this. I made the film when I was 24, 25 years old. The film really did launch my next 30 years. Had I not made that film, I would have just continued to be a work for hire on a crew. But it was because I made that film that I became a director and then a producer, and it'll open the doors for me. And it all really just came from having an idea for a movie, seeing the Sundance Film Festival as a place to premiere it, and taking it there. We did screen it in the Sundance Film Festival in 1994. It was a hell of a ride. I really hope you'll watch the movie. And if you have seen the movie, let me know what you think in the comments, or if you liked it, let me know your favorite quote from it, since people like to quote it. And that's the story of the movie I made. I hope you enjoyed the video. Keep watching my content because I'm just trying to have fun with this. It's funny. That's kind of how it was when I made this movie. I was just having fun.